Welcome back to the KickNPost YouTube channel and podcast with your hosts Jamal Thompson and Chris Perry. It's been too long. It's been almost 3 months. What have we been up to? Not much. You know how we talk about technical difficulties? We've been going through it, but we're back. We're back for y'all. NFL season's upon us. We got a couple fantasy hot takes, things that your industry specialists or your industry experts probably will call us stupid for thinking, but these plays are going to help you win your fantasy league. So let's hop into them. Chris, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. It's been way too long, and I'm ready to jump right into it.
Let's go.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Take number 1. Calvin Ridley finishes top 5.
Okay. State your case.
I know we call this video hot take.
Yeah.
I don't believe that's a hot take at all. Not even slightly.
Okay.
People forget how good Ridley was with Matt Ryan, and he's now in a better offense with better weapons across the board. He did have Julio, but he's playing next to Christian Kirk. You also got your boy Zay Jones, no scrub. Not Evan Ingram, or no,
yeah,
it is Evan Ingram.
Yeah,
no scrub. Resurrected last year, and to top that all off, you got Travis Etienne, another dual threat, and I'll let you say the last piece of the puzzle.
T-Law. That boy Trevor Lawrence,
Thank you.
baby. That boy Trevor Lawrence, baby.
So,
the future.
big year incoming.
The future.
If you're just paying any attention to the Jags training camp this year, you can tell he's on a different wavelength than anybody out there. So, in a pass-heavy offense, I don't think that's too absurd.
I don't think it's too crazy either. I love it. I do believe the top 5 will play out with Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Calvin Ridley at the 3. I think he overtakes Stephon Diggs in that realm. I think Devontae Adams will slip to the back end of the top 5 as well. Who's usually in the top 5 up there as well.
Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, I think. See, that's the shaky part. I think Stephon Diggs can get pushed out the back end, or Devontae Adams can get pushed out the back end. Then you could have Tyreek Hill up there too, because I do believe Miami will have a healthy season with Tua, and I feel Tyreek will benefit a lot off of that. But he's having to split work, so top 5 is a little bit tough when you have Jalen Waddle across from you. So, but I think top 5 isn't that crazy. I was not a believer pre-training camp. I was not a believer coming off of the year suspension. I figured he'd be a great addition to the offense, but he's looked amazing. He looks very lean. Looks the healthiest he's looked since he's been in the NFL, to be honest with you. I'm excited to see Trevor actually support 2 1,000-yard receivers this year. I feel him and Christian Kirk are going to tear defenses apart. And this isn't a part of the fantasy hot takes, but I do believe Jacksonville has a top 5 offense brewing over there in Duval. So hopefully I get to see a couple games this year. I know for sure I'll be at minimum at 2 of them. That's my aim.
Hey, that's me too. I got that Bengals game lined up right now, and I'm going to try to go to an earlier one.
So I have Pittsburgh.
It's going to be nice.
I'm going to go up to Pittsburgh with the homie, Matt Avila, my Teal and Steel bro. We're going to take Teal and Steel up to Pittsburgh, go watch Pittsburgh versus Jags.
Have fun
in the stadium up there, but I'm also planning to go to that Bengals game on Monday night. So, me and Chris.
Yes, sir.
In Duval,
yes, sir. I'll be there.
We gotta make that happen as well this year. So.
Sure.
Let me take 2.
All right.
Let me take 2. I might be going a little bit out of order because I know you have a top 5 list. I don't have anything in front of me, so I'm going off the dome here.
I think you got it.
But Atlanta, man, I got Pitts finally having that true breakout. He was supposed to come into the league and be that number 1 tight end. He has the talent. All the measurables were there. The offense just hasn't played out, and I think it's been a mix of quarterback play and play calling. I think this year is when it's going to really all take form. I think Desmond Ridder is just the right type of quarterback. The offensive line is set. The running game should be potent. You have Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier in the backfield. That's a crazy duo. You got Drake London coming into his own second year.
Oh my gosh, London.
I think it's going to be a great year for the Atlanta offense in general. I think they're going to finish as a top 10 offense. I know it sounds crazy. I have them winning the NFC South. But I think top 40 overall for Kyle Pitts, number 2 tight end finish, and somebody who's super undervalued in fantasy. I think this year specifically you're going to see a lot of guys you could get in later rounds taking that jump. It's just to
Yeah.
see how you approach the draft. So I'm excited, especially for a lot of these redraft leagues, to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I am too. A lot of people have a sour taste in their mouth from last year. I saw a lot of people drafting Kyle Pitts late second round, early third. Not to say that you were wrong with that, but due to injury, you think coming into this year you want to have a different strategy, but no, stick with it. There's a reason why you did that last year, and it should be the same reason you're doing it this year again. But I've done 2 drafts so far, and I'm getting Pitts really late, which once again, I'm all for. So don't forget, he broke the rookie record at tight end.
Correct.
He's been playing with mediocre QB play. Marcus Mariota, I don't love you. You're a horrible QB coach, especially to your boy Ritter, who needed you to help him. And you're just like, no, I'm just going to quit on my team. So it's all good. We don't need you
Have you
in Atlanta.
watched
But Desmond
Quarterback
Ritter,
yet?
no, I haven't actually.
I'm just getting into it, but I'm very excited to see
Okay.
that aspect of why
Yeah,
he left
I got to
early.
see it.
You know, I think.
I mean, I read
interesting.
some rumors on Twitter here and there. That's what I read, so don't quote me on that. I will have to watch till I get the full story. But based on how Desmond Ritter played those last 4 games last year, gave me a lot of hope, and why I bought in on Desmond Ritter a little bit earlier than most people, especially with more weapons coming into play. You're going to have a healthy Pitts this year. You got Bijan coming in. It's going to make everybody's job easier. So it's a match made in heaven, honestly. Like, Kyle Pitts is a number 1 target, even with Drake London on the field, who is also a superior target. So don't discount him. Do what you got to do. Get your guy.
Believe in Ritter as well. I mean, you'll be able to get him late in quite a few drafts. This is one of the drafts you'll be able to take a high-end quarterback and probably stack 2 low-end quarterbacks at the back end and just reap the benefits. I think his price pick line is 2,700 passing yards, maybe 2,625 passing yards. If he starts the
not
whole
bad.
year, it's an easy over. So,
Free.
yeah.
At number 3, we got your choice, your boy.
Justin Ross, baby. Picked up by the Chiefs, not this year, even though this would technically be his rookie year, so because he didn't play last year. But last year, Justin Ross picked up undrafted. I was a huge believer in Justin Ross. Dynasty-wise, been watching wide receivers for, I don't even know how long we could go back. But his production at Clemson, especially his freshman year, how he stepped up in that championship game, elite production. At one point, a top 3 minimum prospect in his draft class, until that neck injury where he was told he would never be playing football again. Obviously, he was able to get a few more opinions, rehab himself back. He missed a couple years at Clemson, came back, played his senior year, shortened senior year, decided to cut it because he got an ankle injury, get prepared for the draft. Unfortunately, no team took a shot on him. As a Jags fan, I was hoping and praying. 7th round pick, dart throw, just something. Give me the boy for cheap. Didn't happen. And then the Chiefs, being the Chiefs, went and get the boy undrafted. He was making a little bit of noise before he injured his leg, his first training camp. And now we're back, 2nd year, after him seeing NFL football, being in the locker room for a year, being in those meetings for a year. He's shining in this training camp. He has the measurables. Again, produced very well at an early age in a tough conference. And I think he'll be the first 1,000-yard receiver, emphasis on receiver, not tight end, that Patrick Mahomes has had since Tyreek Hill left. And at the price you can get him in redraft, I think it's an automatic cop. And if you had paid the price in Dynasty, which was free most of the last year, you can reap those benefits this year. So that's my take on that. What do you think, Chris?
I agree. He will need the help of his supporting cast. I think Sky Moore needs to take a step up in his development. I think Kadarius Toney needs to be of attendance to most games. You know, Kelsey would do his thing, of course, but like you said, it's gonna be the first 1,000-yard receiver since Tyreek Hill. So it shouldn't be too hard in a Chiefs offense, but there's a reason why it hasn't happened in the past couple of years. So he is next in line. Health aside, if he's on the field, I think it's an easy case. Like you said, his build is a matchup nightmare in terms of the DBs, so it shouldn't be too hard. But his only issue is health. So I'm praying for the kid. I'm hoping for the kid. try getting the kid from your team in Dynasty, but you wouldn't trade him to me. So
It's not happening.
can't be a hater. So
Which, side note, every year Mahomes is throwing for 5,000 yards, but I can't find the yardage. I don't know who he's throwing to. Every receiver ends up with like
Everybody?
600 yards.
Yeah.
but like
They're
nobody's
to
dominant
everybody.
enough outside of Kelsey to get to that 1,000-yard mark. So I
would
think
say even Van Scanley had like what 700-800 this year,
yeah.
or like what? Oh, it makes
Juju
sense.
had a decent year, but it was like 700 receiving yards. MVS decent year, like 550. Like it's never. I don't know how he gets to 5K, but he always finds a way, man.
Yeah.
But I think he'll have his first 1,000-yard receiver since Tyreek, and it'll be a beautiful year for Justin Ross truthers. But on to my guy, who I've been a believer in since draft day. Still a little bit bent that the Dolphins didn't take him. Still a little bit bent that the Chiefs didn't take him. That he ended up in Detroit. He did okay out there. But let's not act like it's all their fault. He also, was unavailable at times. But DeAndre Swift, man, I still think he was the number 2 ranked running back in that class.
Yeah.
You could bring me back to that day. I don't know if we were making content at the time. But I was JT first, DeAndre Swift 2. I don't even know if I had CH3.
Last. Fucking, he was probably last in that whole class. It's not good.
Yeah, I wasn't a big believer in CEH at the time. I think it was, benefit of where he landed. I didn't think he'd be a very successful running back in the NFL because I just didn't think he was a great running back, period. But I had a belief. I saw it, Swift to Miami, or I saw Swift in a Chiefs jersey. What could have been, right? But I think we're going to see what could have been because he's going to be on a team with all the weapons in the world. No offense to Detroit. They have a great offensive line running-wise. Jamal Williams, tons of touchdowns behind that offensive line. Jared Goff had time behind that offensive line to distribute to Amon-Ra St. Brown. But he's going to a completely different situation over here in Philly. We talking top to bottom. Jalen Hurts is a rushing quarterback. You're going to see the type of holes that open up when you have a guy who can use his legs also handing the ball off. That should make things a lot easier on a guy like DeAndre Swift. Still a top 5 offensive line. Jason Kelsey came back for another year. You go 2 deep, 2 wide receiver, 1 potential talents at wide receiver. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Top 5 tight end, Dallas Goedert. Right? He's in essentially an all-star team that's just coming off of a Super Bowl loss. The only drawback is that they love to use committees. Kenneth Gainwell's still there. Rashad Penny's out there now. Boston Scott re-signed. So they have quite a few guys out there, but I think he is still the most talented of the 4, the best pass catcher of the 4, and I think the most explosive of the 4. Penny's a solid running back, don't get me wrong. I was also a Penny believer for quite a while. But I feel like the guy to tie your fantasy hopes to, if you're looking to find that guy at a cheap cost to put you over the top, maybe you faded running back after you took your first one, you could get this guy probably 7th round and reap the benefits of him being behind one of the best lines in the NFL. Price Picks line is at 555 or 570 roughly, I think, right now. Actually, no, I think it's lower. I think it's like 515 rushing yards.
Free.
If he plays 8 games, he'll blow that line out the water. I have this man finishing as a top 10 running back behind this line. I'm seeing shades of Miles Sanders' rookie year. But to me, a more talented, gifted running back behind a way more seasoned and way more weapon-filled Eagles team. What is your take, Chris?
Yeah, I think we all know the Eagles' identity now. They're going to control the ground, do what they want, and then do what they want again through the air, just because that's just how they're built. Like you said, they have 2 number 1 receivers. They have a top 2 offensive line. I can say that safe enough. They're pretty good at what they do. DeAndre Swift is pretty good at what he does. I think he does bring the most value out of that that running back crew, just because he is or he does have a presence on the run, and then he also has a presence in the pass game compared to Gainwell, who's majority pass, and then Penny, who's primarily run. So when he's on the field, you have more plays at your disposal. So he should get majority of the opportunity, which is why I'm so big on him, which is why this top 10 finish isn't too much to ask for in a top 10 offense, pretty much. So, a lot of people were trying to use that same knock with Jamal Williams last year of getting siphoned those touchdowns in the end zone and the role that Penny should get. But I don't even think Penny's going to get that. I think that's still Jalen Hurts' realm, because as you can see last year, if they're in the red zone, Jalen Hurts is going to be running the ball majority of the time, which doesn't really matter because they're going to score. But in terms of getting there, I think Swift will be a big impact on that. So the yards are free.
Sanders had 10 rushing touchdowns last year? Like, he was before last year he had 0. Last year the offense took such a step forward. He was still able to get a few in there with Jalen Hurts still running the ball in the red zone. So
they score a lot in Philly. They do. So like you
if
said,
the offense
top 10,
doesn't take a step backwards, you could guarantee there'll still be enough touchdowns for, at minimum, 6 to 8 for Swift. In a very lucky shakeout, say he breaks a couple big ones on his own, I can see him finishing with 10. Probably 25 receptions. And if he gets to a K rushing, there's your top 10 finish. So
yeah, that's a simple formula, and it's not too hard in Philly. It really isn't. So big year ahead of him.
Speaking of top 10 finishes, how you feeling about this next pick, Chris?
I think this next pick is going to be a little bit better than a top 10 finish. I have him primed as a top 5 finish. And I've been big on him since college, since he was at Georgia Tech, since he went to Bama. I got slandered by saying he wasn't too far off from Bijan, and I'm still standing by it. My boy Jahmyr Gibbs. A beast, been a beast, and as you can see from all this training camp hype, which I don't buy into fully yet, he's getting a lot of work in the receiving game, and he should be primed for a gigantic year. Because of how Detroit runs their offense, they are being more pass heavy, so not only is he going to get the backfield reps, but he's also getting reps in the slot. It's just a formula for success. There's so many weapons out there, especially when James Williams comes back. It's going to be like your Jags offense. Pick your poison, Like, who do you want to dominate you today? And I think it's going to be the rookie for a majority of the games, because most rookies have to prove themselves in the league. And I think that's going to be halted midway through the season. We're like, all right, Gibbs is a legitimate problem. Let's address this. But then you have the Sun God, and then you have J-Mo. It's like you said, like, out of those 3, you're still going to pick Gibbs to beat you, and he will, just so you know. But my guy's top 5 this year.
I don't put it too far past him either. I do agree with you to a certain aspect. I feel like top 5 might be a bit high. Top 10 easy. Top 5 is if everything breaks right. I think the biggest thing for him being in Detroit, they want somebody who's available. They moved off of DeAndre Swift not because of talent, because of availability. DeAndre Swift had quite a few games where he finished as a top 10 fantasy running back for the week.
Yeah.
Because when he was there and healthy, he did great things behind that line. Had big explosive plays. I think Jahmyr Gibbs brings a lot of those elements. I think he's a very fairly similar talent to Swift. I'm still a big Swift believer, but I feel like in terms of athleticism, pass catching ability, shiftiness, he brings a lot more pop, I think, speed-wise, when I watch him on film. If all these things break right and he's able to stay healthy with a David Montgomery that is going to be there to play that Jamal Williams role. But we've seen him deal with a lot of injuries lately.
Yeah, just had one last week, baby. Come on now.
Yeah, if we find ourselves in a situation where Jahmyr Gibbs has to be the main running back for an extended period of time, with heavy usage, almost in like that Austin Eckler mold, but a little bit better of a rusher.
Yeah.
Top 5's not that crazy. A lot of things have to break right, though. Again, I think you're looking at David Montgomery missing some time, and him just being available for all 17. That's the key thing to finishing this top 5 is availability. And hopefully he has that. And there's enough weapons for them not to run him into the ground. And we know this Detroit team has a great offense. That's not been their issue over the last 2 years. It's been keeping those leads or, being able to stop the other team from putting up points. But they'll put their 35 to 40 points up easy. and they're
sure.
just adding more to the mix. So I think Jahmyr Gibbs is top 5. Bit hot, but I can see it. I can see it.
I mean, I don't see it as hot with the draft capital they invested in him. The only knock that I would have to agree upon is his size in the NFL. Depending on how much usage he does get, could determine his health throughout the year. But I do see similarities of, for example, like Lamar Jackson. They just have this knack of not taking huge hits. They just know how to get to the ground when they need to. They know how to take a less harder hit to a different body part that they know they can last longer. So that's like a skill that I like to attribute to players, especially at the running back position, because anyone can be a bruiser. Like, of course, you can lower your shoulder, you can take those hits, but that doesn't last over time. That doesn't help your career. It looks good on film, but you got to do what you got to do to get that bag. So,
and at this point in time, playing that receiver role and playing in the slot will actually do him more of a service of getting paid and having that longevity, because you're looking at the guys like Josh Jacobs or Jonathan Taylor, who are predominantly downfield rushers. The league doesn't love them. They have no love for those guys at this time. So him playing a role that doesn't get him as many touches or hurt as much, valuable in fantasy, Eckler's proven that, and valuable in longevity. So hopefully Gibbs is able to benefit off of his pass catching ability and not get turned into a downhill rusher too much. Let David Montgomery take the hits, man. Any closing thoughts on this hot take vid/pod, Chris?
We're back. That's all I have to say.
Man.
We're back.
It's been too long. We
Way
have
too long.
quite a few things planned. We're not going to leave you for as long. Me and Otto, hopefully, once I get this computer thing situated, we'll be hopping on a few podcasts for the UFC.
Otto?
Yeah.
Did I hear that? Ottoman?
I know.
Okay.
Ottoman, man. Bring
It's
it back.
lit. It's lit. Okay.
Teal and Steel is going to be back on your screen. We didn't build this set for no reason. We're going to bring it back to life. We have a lot of things to talk about. Kenny Pickett breakout, potentially. George Pickens called himself the best receiver in the NFL. Then went out there and had a nasty catch.
Might be.
To back it up.
I'm upset at myself for not buying Pickens early enough, but you know.
Yeah, I bought a share and I was thinking about selling it, but now I am not. I'm holding.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
I can't move him now. His price picks line is $750. Give me that too.
I'm taking under on that.
Really?
I don't believe in Kenny Pickett. That's a whole nother episode.
We'll talk about that. Of course, me and my boy Chris hopping into some season predictions. We need to start pumping out which teams are going to win 10-plus games, which teams are going to suck. Hopefully we do better than we did last year. Ton on the horizon. So just stick with us.
We would have did good last year if Russ didn't forget who he was, okay? I think after that it went downhill.
The Seattle one.
All right, I think we should end this video. I think we should end this video.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank y'all for choosing to tune in to us. Please subscribe. We're back down to 434. Help us rise back on the way to 500. And we'll see y'all on the next episode. We won't be gone for long. Peace.